Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was the bastard child of Sirzechs Lucifer and strongest demon in existence part 1. Before we start, please go support God of Hope for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei didn't want to get involved. I just wanted to live in peace. But everything had changed when he met the woman of his dreams. Rias Gremory. But there were many impediments, and among them the origin that it has. He is not an ordinary human, in fact. He should not exist. Join me in this story of love and also of drama and action. But above all, a relationship that in the eyes of many is taboo. Since blood unites them. The unplanned. Well, here I am. Being held by the neck thanks to the damn bird that believes itself to be immortal. All beaten up. Hurt. If I know I'm pathetic. You might be wondering. Why did I get involved in a matter that wasn't mine? Simple, for my mistress Rias Gremory. The girl I fell in love with, and it is forbidden to think about her. It's not because I think it's unattainable for me. Not at all. It is for something much bigger that you yourselves will realize. Now many people think I'm a pervert, but the truth is I'm not. It's just that I tend to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But me and my damn luck. You see, I'll tell you how we got to this point. Do you want to know? No? Well, it's okay, I'll tell you. This was when I was 4 years old. My mother and I lived. A good-hearted woman with a horrible temper if you make her angry. But she is my world and the only thing I have. But in this family the father is missing. Where is he? Well, it's simple. He used to come every weekend to see us. He used to play with me and also spend time with mom. I still have nightmares of hearing them doing their well. I better shut up. When it was my birthday he gave me a lot of presents, but the truth is I didn't care much about them. He donated them to orphanages so they could make someone else happy. I just wanted him and mom to be together. They loved each other and she still loves him. Every time I asked him when we would be a family, he would only tell me that soon. I was very naive. I believed in his words. At the age of 5, what is now my best friend awoke in my left hand. Greg. He was my teacher. He taught me what I know about magic and how to control my power. At 6, Dad only came every month or every 2 months. I asked my mom, when is Dad coming? She didn't know how to respond. The worst thing was that at 6.5 something had attacked us. They were 3 serious-looking guys with an arrogant attitude. They shouted, eliminate, extirpate, kill the offspring. I got my mom to safety and managed to get them, but more were arriving. We escaped. We were on the run for 3 years where thanks to Drake we were able to survive. Until they stopped chasing us. There she told me a truth that I should have known. That day I started to hate my father. If he were in front of me I would break his nose. At 10 we managed to settle in the city of Cow. Where I met my friend Irina, and it was also sad because she had to move to England. Mom didn't want me to hate my idiot father. But it was difficult for me. At age 11 things started to get worse. My mother developed lung cancer. Which is damn illogical since she never smokes. Their treatments are expensive and I had to learn to work and do many things to earn money. Even stealing. I was looking for a way to contact my idiot father, but I couldn't. Those morons might find us. I had to manage on my own. Despite everything I managed to do it. At 15 I entered Cow High School. Where there I met the one who is my mistress. She offered me to be her servant in exchange for being able to pay for my mother's treatments and dialysis. Obviously I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be anyone's slave. But I love my mother and she is the only thing I have left. So I accepted. I became friends with Kiba, who they call the prince. Kaneko sees me as a pervert, which I emphasize I am not. From Akeno-san, who has helped me a lot and I consider her my second friend after Irina. Asia, who thanks to her sacred gear, my mother improves more. She is the embodiment of kindness. But the one who adored a lot is Rias. She, despite the fact that I joined her nobility because of my mother's need, has helped me more than what was agreed. Every day I talked to her. I felt very happy. We had fun times that would be outings and dinners at my house. My mother adores her and asks me when I should propose to her. I almost had a heart attack because of that. But Drake told me a truth, something I didn't want to know. Or if I knew it but I wanted to deny it. So I started to distance myself from her so that feeling wouldn't come back. But it was impossible for me for 2 reasons. She was insistent. And I didn't want to do it. Things got worse when she tearfully told me that she loved me and wanted to do it with me. I wanted to be one with myself. Since I was engaged to someone who doesn't love me and wants to give himself to me. Experience what love is. I was angry at that time. And it wasn't because Rias wanted me to be her adventure. If not, a bastard wanted to snatch away the girl I love. I, in the heat of the moment, told her that I would help her. I didn't know what the hell I was thinking. I was supposed to get away from her, not get closer. Damn crazy heart, don't you understand what we got ourselves into? In the end my heart never obeys me. When I met that guy who bragged about being my mistress's fiancé, I swear I wanted to knock his teeth out to shut him up. Because he only made cackles. Cackles. Pure cackling, cackling, cackling. And only cackling. Luckily I'm someone that idiots like him can't stand. I am someone who likes to annoy. Something like Iron Man. May he rest in peace. Anyway, I got off topic. I almost achieved my goal. If it weren't for that maid woman. I must say that it seemed familiar to me, but I didn't remember it. Then came the rating game proposal. You already know what happened, so I'll just tell you that I could have won. If it weren't for that idiot cheating. I used gravitational seal magic on us, which Akeno-san had told me was illegal in the game. He broke my face, of course I broke his too, and I think he was a little scared of me. In the end, seeing how he was killing me, Rias stopped me, knowing that we couldn't win thanks to the bunch of lunatics that are the demonic elder council. And I couldn't stand to see him so hurt. Had to surrender. I never felt so weak and useless back then. All for not using what I hate so much. I managed to wake up and Asia was healing me. Then the maid appeared and gave me the opportunity to save my mistress. But for that I would have to see him. But it didn't matter anymore. I can't run away from my past. I thought I could avoid it by being on a different path and refusing to accept who I am. But in the end this will always reach me. So I will no longer hide like a rat. I had asked Drake to prepare everything. He began to remove the seal. When I got to the engagement party I was able to knock down the door with a bang. How I would have liked to put on my cell phone the Ost of Thor arrives in Wakanda. All those demons looked bewildered. I think I heard Kiba say Banner's words, Aka Hulk. Then I screamed. Bring me Razor. And with increases in my strength I launched myself at those idiots who attacked me, and with electric magic courtesy of Akeno-san, I left them as inept. Then he appeared. Smiling as if nothing happened, believing that everything is going according to plan. That we are all part of his plan. He offered entertainment. They would give me the opportunity to face KFC again. They asked me what I wanted in return, simple. That my mistress was free from any commitment. We were transported to a dimension so we could fight without any problem. When we started things were going well, but then again the same thing. Those old guys did it again. I was weakened by gravity traps and was also banned from using the booster gear. Now he was hurt again. And that's how I ended up and what I'm going to start. This will drive many people crazy, but at this point, I don't care anymore. I just want Rias to be safe, and if she finds out about this, I want her to forget me and fall in love with someone else. Don't hate me. Partner, you're ready, it's time to open this Pandora's box. Well, here I go. Ahaha, this would be all for you. When this is over I'm going to taste what you won't be able to, which is Ria's body, and you know what's the best. I'll make you see everything in the front row, hahaha. You know I keep hearing your cackling. Despite the pain he continued doing his thing. Annoy him. Something that worked for him. So this one, having his free hand wrapped in flames, was preparing to finish him off. Last words. Yes, cackle. He was already fed up with killing him. Everything happened in slow motion. Rias just cried and begged them to stop the fight already. She would do anything. But just when the fist was going to hit his chest to pierce it, the hand stopped him. Nobody knew what was happening. It was Issei who still refused to give up. Razor tried to move his hand. But I couldn't. And also, his hand was beginning to feel pain. Pain and more pain. I felt like I was disintegrating. But what? Issei looked up. His eyes showed not only determination, if not pure power. He tightened his grip hand. Ah. That hand was destroyed, leaving nothing. Razor let go of Issei and grabbed his arm while still screaming in pain. But a crimson aura began to surround the chestnut. This aura was comparable to that of a demon above the upper class. His wrists and hands were surrounded by black and crimson energy. But it wasn't just any energy. It was a power that only those of the Bale clan should have. The power of destruction. And not only that. It surpassed that of the current heiress. But things got worse when the teenager's hair changed to a different one. She was no longer brown as many knew her. Now it was crimson. And his shirt disintegrated, showing a strong body. Worthy of a young warrior. Nobody could believe it. Nobody except one person. The leader of the demon faction. He who is considered a super demon. He was in shock. Before his eyes was someone he thought was dead. Issei, my son. Those words were not only heard by Rias and her group. Also the Gremory and Graphia patriarchs. The Mau Serafal and Sona with their clan. Those on the council were burning with fury at seeing something that went against tradition. Razor couldn't believe what his opponent had become. Before his eyes was someone superior to him. Who are you? You're not a common demon. You're right. I'm not common, in fact, I shouldn't have been born. His power increased further. Scaring Razor more. I am the product of an adventure between a demon and a human. I introduced myself as KFC. I am Issei Gremory, bastard son of Sirzechs Lucifer. That didn't scare the Phoenix. It terrified him. This is impossible. Nothing is impossible, KFC, nothing. Razor didn't know what to do. I could no longer reason. Damn it. He threw several fireballs at him. Issei the Redeed screamed in anguish. But the fireballs, upon contact with Issei's aura, turned into harmless gas. Something that left many stunned. Razor created a huge fireball compared to that of his sun and launched it. The sun slowly went towards the now Redeed. But Issei created 4 spheres of destruction from his hands that later grew larger and took the form of something that only a few in the underworld could know. They were naval battleship cannons. Those cannons were pointing at the sun. Bismarck cannon fire. Boom. The shots were shocking and also made the sun disappear. The shots were going straight towards Razor and he couldn't do anything. Boom. They left him with only half of his body. The other half had disintegrated. The Phoenix screamed in pain because although he experienced the power of destruction from Rias, it never caused him as much pain as it does now. He fell to the ground and tried to get up as best he could. His mind was beginning to break. Issei walked and wrapped his hands up to the elbow with the power of destruction. It was a lot that I was concentrating on. Panzerfaust. Issei launched into an attack with several blows that not only disintegrated upon contact but also hurt the third son of the Phoenix family more. The blows were deadly. Every blow was like hell. Until with a super blow I sent him crashing into a one-piece queen sculpture. He put his hands together and the power compressed in his palms into a more powerful sphere. He pointed at the arrogant man who was beginning to die. And with the coldness of a Wehrmacht soldier. Shot. King. Boom. The sphere took the form of a projectile and went at high speed towards the fried chicken. And. Boom. He hit the mark. And not only that. But the huge piece also fell on the blonde like a collapsing building. When the dust cleared there was only pure rubble. Issei walked towards the pile of rubble and when he saw that some of it was moving, he realized that he was still conscious. So he took the doll and pulled it out. She looked him in the eyes. Provoking if it is still possible terror in Razor. No, please no more. You know what you have to do, say it now or I'll reduce you to nothing. His free hand created a sphere that was very powerful. I can't do what tradition dictates. The damn traditions that make someone suffer are just a waste of time. Would you like to see your sister like that? Would you like to see her suffer with someone unpleasant? He didn't respond, in fact, just imagining what the Redeed was saying only caused him fear and disgust. It seems you understand now, do something good for once in your life and say it now. There was silence after that scream until. I give up. Saying those words someone came. It was Rebel Phoenix. Issei threw the already unconscious Rubio into his arms. Tell your brother that if he bothers my friends again I will make him see what a real demon can do. She seeing him on the rubble. Tall and powerful. With an aura that demands respect and obedience. Not only did she start to feel submissive but she started to feel attracted to him. The dimension was disappearing and Issei with wings made of the power of destruction stopped its fall. He fell straight to what is the place of commitment. In full view of everyone. Before his friends and acquaintances. Rias was approaching. And she ran into his arms until she was finally with him. Ice, my beloved Ice. He didn't correspond, in fact he restrained himself from doing so. Since she. The girl he loves with sincere love was his father's sister. Your aunt. She tried to kiss him. He finally wanted to do what his heart told him to do. But he walked away. She was in pain and she could see in Issei's eyes that he wanted to do it. But a blood tie prevented them from doing that. Issei. The ruler of the underworld approached his son. I wanted to finally hug him. I wanted to ask him many things. But. Bam. He received a tremendous blow to the nose with a fist covered in the power of destruction. I can look him in the eyes. Issei hated him and wanted to beat him to death. He couldn't do it because Grafia and Serafal managed to contain him in an ice prison. The council elders ordered their guards to kill him now that he could not defend himself. But Sirzechs not only prevented it but ordered that they be arrested for sabotaging the meetings and attempting to kill his son. They demanded but the Redeed, fed up with them, killed one while the others were taken away. Issei was locked in a confined room by order of the Mau. Rias demanded to see him. The Gremory patriarchs demanded to see him. They wanted to meet their newly discovered grandson. Grafia did not allow them. She knew what was happening since she was complicit in everything. Now Sirzechs stood at the door where Issei was confined. I gathered the courage to talk to him. But deep down I was scared of being the reason for her hatred. He took a deep breath and opened the door to enter. And there it was. Your son. On a chair with magic power nullifying handcuffs on his wrists. With eyes on the ground. Issei. He did not respond. He just sighed knowing that now things were going to get worse. The storm will fall on his son and he would be there to help him. Even though I hated. The blessed sin plus 18. Rias took off her dress and looked at herself in the mirror. With what he had just found out, he knew why the person he loved was moving away from him and did not reciprocate his feelings. It wasn't because he didn't love her, she could see how he looked at her. With love and devotion. Something she loves about him. It was for something more serious. A blood tie. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to accept it. She didn't want to accept that Issei. The boy she loves was the bastard son of her older brother. That was his nephew. Morally I had to leave him. But I didn't want to. I loved Issei. I couldn't stop thinking about him. All her life the council members wanted to run her the way they wanted. For those decrepit people she was a factory of strong pure-blooded heirs. Found love. Issei was someone who loved her with all his being and would be willing to die for her. It used to be the demonic council. Now it was the same society. Issei in the eyes of the demon society was his nephew. But that didn't matter to him. She doesn't see him as her nephew. She doesn't see him as part of her family. She sees him as the man she loves. And I would give anything to be by your side. Whatever. Now he had changed his clothes. And he headed straight to see the person he loves. Issei. Issei was locked in an isolated room. With the person I least wanted to see. His inept father. Sirzechs kept trying to talk to his son, but he didn't respond. Son, I just want to talk to you. If you don't come to apologize to me, you better get out. It was official for Sirzechs. His son hated him. So he approached him. Look, Issei. I know you're mad at me. But I want you to know that I'll always be there to help you. He touched his shoulder, but the young Redid angrily removed his hand and stood up from the chair, walking away from him. He laughed with a dry laugh full of sarcasm. You're so cynical. You know that blow to your nose was just a litany of a series of things and tragedies that have fallen upon me because of your ineptitude. And all because I was the product of a secret love affair and you did not want to tarnish your image of perfect ruler. Lucifer had to rethink that his son hated him. I didn't want to see it even in paint. So I had to try something else. Okay, now that I have your attention, tell me, what have I done to you that you hate me so much? He turned to look at him as if he didn't believe what his inept father was asking him. I can't believe you're asking me such a question, but do you really want me to tell you? There are several things. The fact that you hid me as if I was your biggest mistake in your entire life and you didn't have the balls not to admit it. Damn coward. Not doing anything to prevent my mistress from marrying a chicken-headed imbecile. Giving me childish illusions that we could be a family. I could spend all damn day telling you all your mistakes that I had to pay for. But you know what? You are an inept, malicious, sinister and an abandoning father. There was contained anger in the red-haired young man's eyes. Sirzechs tried to reason with him. So you think I'm to blame for your misfortunes? But of course you do. Every moment I wanted to forget in my life was your doing, not mine. It's all part of Lucifer and his plan. Issei. Even the cancer that mom has is part of your damn plan. I don't understand how she can love you after you left us forgotten. Those last words left him stunned. Your mother is alive. Now you are interested in what I am telling you. Issei wanted to continue claiming, but he saw that his parent was in shock. So much so that he sat down on the chair. I can't believe it, she's Erica. Issei didn't understand the reason for his reaction. According to him, Sirzechs had abandoned them not only because of their image, but because he no longer loved his mother, but I think he was wrong about that. For Lucifer, my beloved Erica. How many years of not being able to see her? Of believing that she had died with you? What are you talking about? I still remember the day I met her. It was a rainy day. My marriage was on the verge of falling apart. I was hurting and suddenly she appeared. She offered me asylum in her apartment. She fed me. She advised me. And thanks to her I saved my marriage. Not only did she make me remember why I love Grafia, but she also made my heart open to someone else. Your mother, Issei, she is just like an angel who fell from heaven. Seeing him like that with an idiotic look that he never thought he would see, just by reminding him of his mother, was something that disconcerted him a little. But he had no right to mock since he makes that face with Rias. So he wanted to get back to the topic. You know how much I find your walk down memory lane interesting. I'm just asking. I'm not correcting myself, I'm demanding that you apologize. She looked at him again, but now the look was one of uncontrollable anger. Issei, I think you should calm down a little. I don't want your advice. I want you to do penance for what you've done to me and my mother. I want you to pay. This is not the Issei-chan who considered me his hero. That Issei died when the bootlickers of the Raisin Council tried to kill me. You must apologize now." Despite the handcuffs, Issei's eyes became filled with a crimson aura. Sirzechs had to calm him down. "Apologize now," he shouted with anger and hatred. Chaos was about to break out. But the door opened. "Issei, don't do it." He felt someone hug him from behind. He realized who he was. "Rias-sama. I'm on ice. Please calm down. It's not worth it for you to be angry. But please, let's go home together." He couldn't understand how she could calm his heart. I didn't understand how, despite the truth, she doesn't speak to him with disgust. He speaks to you with his voice full of pure love. Love that feels it does not deserve. Ice. Okay, just because you tell me to. She smiled. He will never be honest with his wishes. But that's what I loved about him. So he turned brown again, thanks to Drake putting the seal back on him. He looked at his father seriously. "Please don't let me or my mother come near you. We're fine and we've been doing well without you, so you better continue with your role as the perfect ruler and leave us alone." Issei retreated with the retreat, leaving Sirzechs very sad, knowing that his son wants nothing to do with him. Grafia came in and comforted her husband, also being sad. "What did I do wrong, Grafia? Why couldn't the three of us be happy? Why did those damn council members want to impose their will on me? Now my son hates me." "He doesn't hate you, it's just hard for him to forgive you right now. If only I had stopped those bastards earlier, we would be a family now and Milikas would be happy to have grown up with his brother. The would have doesn't exist, we only have today. And to be able to fix the present." They both looked at each other, knowing that they loved each other. Now they were not just aiming to fix things. If not to unite someone to the family. Rias managed to remove the handcuffs from the brown-haired boy and they both prepared to leave. But she took him a little further into a room. "Rias-sama, who?" He couldn't continue as she was kissing him. He was in shock. "I couldn't believe it and I shouldn't." He tried to get away. But she pushed him against a wall and continued kissing him there. And also bringing her body closer to his. She pulled away to get some oxygen. "Rias-sama. Please stop. This is. I don't care, Ice, I love you. I told you and I will always tell you that I love you. But we are. I don't give a shit about blood. I can't see you as my nephew or my brother and I know you think the same. Rias-sama. It's hard for me to contain what I feel for you. She kissed him again. He gradually gave in to the impulses. "Don't hold back, let go of your desires, do what your heart wants, just tell me that you love me." They both looked into each other's eyes. Both eyes showing the love in their souls. She loved him without a doubt and even showed it without shame. He loved her without a doubt and even went so far as to break his morals just to prove it. Is it wrong for both of them to love each other? That love they had for each other was wrong in the eyes of many, but that shouldn't matter to them. They were demons. Beings of darkness that are capable of having selfish desires. They are creatures that incite sin in humans. So why should they be moral? Hence. Issei began to reciprocate. He kissed her. He held her to the wall, running his hands over her legs and bust so that despite her clothes, she could feel the warm touch of the man she loves. He stopped for a moment to look into her eyes. Those blue eyes like the calmest ocean. That skin as white as snow. And that hair as red as blood. He loved everything about her and wanted it to be his alone. That no fool would dare to touch his wife. "Rias, I love you. Ice, you don't know how happy I am right now, stay with me. Forever. And forever until eternity. I swore. I will never leave you. Oh Ice, make me yours now. I want to be only yours and no one else's. If that is what my beloved wishes." He kisses her hand with much affection. "I will gladly fulfill her wish." She couldn't wait. I use a magic circle and they both left from there. But that door opened to see the Gremory patriarchs who entered and had heard everything. All. They couldn't stop smiling, not only when they saw how happy their daughter was. But her grandson was also happy with her. They knew that this was frowned upon by society, but who cares? "Our daughter is going to make our grandson a man." Zioticus couldn't help but smile with pride at seeing how his grandson was so chivalrous. "I wanted to meet my grandson. But I think it's better this way. She deserves to be happy after everything the council put her through. And Vanillana will be happy, especially when they both manage to be together. I know, honey, you know, I think seeing them like that made me want to do." That made the Retid nervous. Which he immediately tried to escape from. "I think I have some paperwork to do at the office." So he couldn't continue as his wife cornered him against a wall. She smiled with lust. "Let's do it and that's it." He just sighed and mentally prepared himself for long hours of hex, maybe even days. He doesn't want to say it in front of his wife, but she was like a hyena. I was never satisfied. And I hoped that her daughter hadn't inherited that from her mother. In a summer house in the mountains. Where the Gremory nobility trained for their match against Razor. In one of the rooms. A magic circle appeared. From him both young people appeared. Issei recognized the place. Wow, I didn't expect us to be here again. He couldn't continue because the Redeed kissed him again. Lemon skipped. She touched his belly with her hand intertwined with his. Imagine that I already have your son. I can imagine. I don't know what it would be like to be a father, but I'm not going to make the same mistake that my inept father made with me. I'll stay by your side. I'll marry you even if it's forbidden. I'll be there to see you born and grow up and make you a healthy boy or girl who is happy that we are their parents' young parents. But we will be. Ice, you are the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. I love you. I love you too. Let's be happy together for eternity. Until eternity. And with a loving kiss full of feeling and pure love. Both swore to each other that night where they consummated the act that before society is a sin. But they didn't care what they said anymore. It was their lives and no one has the right to rule over them. In the distance on top of a mountain. A man in a black suit and a top hat with an axe on his waist looked at everything that had happened regarding the two demons united by blood. He just smiled with satisfaction when he saw that everything was going as it should. Good. With a love like the one I witnessed, why do these evil gods make them both look horrible? I hope there are gods who enjoy the good and not the bad. You know it's impossible, comrade. They will never understand what we understand. They will never see that there are good things in the universes. They will only enjoy the bad things they create. He turned to see someone who had white armor with blue details. I know, Legion. But I would at least hope that my actions will reach your hearts and you will no longer use each version of them just to entertain yourself in a twisted and sick way. There's a reason they are evil gods. Because their hearts are full of darkness. An example is what they did to Issei VG. Believe me, if it wasn't an absolute law to interfere in a foreign universe, I would have already helped him. Joker made him suffer too much. They both looked at the country house where both lovers sleep. They look happy. Too bad there is no fruit yet. Well, I'd like to say the same thing. The man in armor looked at him. Wait, you're not going to. The man in the suit only raised one hand that was gloved with a red metallic glove and about 6 colored gems in it. This will make things more fun. They're going to have it tough, you know. The life without adversity is an empty life. He snapped his fingers with his glove. While where they both sleep, the Redeed's belly began to glow, then it went out. You know, Hope. I think this universe will be very busy. I think so too, Legion. Me too. The man in the hat looked with a thought. I hope you like the gift I gave you. Take care and don't worry, this universe is safe with me. And so both of them in a flash disappeared as if they had never been there. Marking a series of events in the lives of both Redeeds. In life. Of two lovers with a future ahead of them. Accidents do not exist. Dawn was breaking in the mountains. And in the room of a summer house. The noises coming from the shower were heard. Both young people performed their carnal acts of love and desire. She was on her back with her hands on glass while he penetrated her roughly from behind. It must be said that Hex became the addiction of both. And when he came inside her, the sensation for both of them was indescribable. He approached and kissed her, and she gladly and still moaning for him, begging, accepted the kiss. You know I do this all day, said the Redeed, enjoying the feeling of her lover's semen in her uterus. I would do it too, and believe me, being inside you is the best. Unfortunately, there are things we have to do. Issei was the voice of reason. They both finished, and after getting ready a bit they went straight with a magic circle to the Hyodo home. So you have another son. I already told you, Ajuka. Okay, don't you know what a condom is? The trio of mass were in a private garden where no one bothered them. Sirzech, I believed some of your things. But I didn't think you would fall in love with a human. It was the Mayu Leviathan who still did not believe that his partner and friend was going to have another child. You'd be surprised how I met his mother. I still remember that day. Do you love her? Asked a green-haired boy. Yes, I love her. More than Graphia? Seraphil now asked. I can't love her more than Graphia, and I can't love Graphia more than her either. I love them both, and we had plans for us to be a family together. So it was a three-way relationship. And what is she like? Well, Ajuka, she had the kindness of an angel. But when she got angry, she scared me. She is half Japanese German and studied at a military school. So she was a tough girl, huh? I'm not surprised she got the better of you. I know, Ajuka. I just hope she doesn't kill me when I try to talk to her. Maybe he doesn't even want to see you. Have you thought about that? Was the Leviathan's question. I will try my best to get her to forgive me. What if he already has someone? I think Ajuka should not have asked that question. As a murderous instinct began to be felt in the air. It was so strong that both Mai were nervous. But. The Redeed calmed down. And I sigh heavily. Then I'll leave her alone. I know she has the right to be happy and I hope she is. They both supported him knowing that he was in a difficult situation. And they hoped that everything would turn out well, or at least that things would be clear. Issei and Rias had arrived at the gates of the Hyoto house home of the now red-haired boy. They both didn't deny it, they were nervous. And it was for a reason. A reason called Erica. When they both entered the two-story house. Everyone was there. But you. Everyone went to hug her and also Issei. For everyone there was a feeling of victory where they had overcome adversity. Issei-chan, was that you? The woman was slowly coming down the stairs. He had long, wavy brown hair. Almond-colored eyes and a somewhat weak appearance since he had an oxygen supply. She was Erica, a Japanese-German woman who has lung cancer. "Mom, what are you doing out of bed? It's not good for your condition. You worry too much, son. Little by little I'm getting better." She reached the end of the stairs and went straight to hug her son. "I'm glad you're back. Your friends told me everything." He was happy to see her. "But I'm also glad that you saved Rias-chan. Now you are free to be with whoever you choose." That had put both of them in an awkward situation. Something that not only the woman noticed but also the others present. "Guys, is there anything you want to tell me?" They looked at each other with a single glance. They had understood each other. They both held hands and lovingly intertwined their fingers. And they came together like a couple. Something that puzzled everyone. "Rias, don't tell me that you and Issei-kun." "Yes, Akeno Issei and I love each other and we are a couple." That had been quite a shock that left everyone speechless. "Rias, do you know what could happen to you now? That is forbidden. We are demons, Akeno. We follow our desires as we wish. But even demons have limits. This is not right, Rias, we have laws for a reason. Akeno is my life." Both were arguing. "No, why is it wrong for Butchu and Issei-san to be a couple? And why does Issei-san have red hair?" Issei didn't look at anyone. Asia, Issei is a hybrid of a demon and a human. His father is Sirzechs Lucifer, who is Butchu's brother. Both have a forbidden relationship, Kiba had informed her, worried about what might happen. Leaving the green-eyed blonde in total shock, and in the church this was incest. A very blasphemous sin. And not only that. Senpai and Butchu have their essences mixed. Kaneko's words had made the situation worse. "Issei-san, is it true?" He didn't answer. In fact, he continued without looking at anyone. "Issei-chan." His mother spoke to him. But he did not respond. "Issei." He still didn't respond. "Son, ich read mit der son, I'm talking to you." "Was willst du, das Mama der antwortet. Du hast sie schon gehört, what do you want mom to answer? Did you already hear them?" They both started speaking in German. Something that caught everyone's attention. Because they know that when mother and son speak German it is because they were having a serious discussion. "Ich möchte von der Horen und nicht von innen. Ich habe keinen Songrisgesigen, der sich vor mir als Fägling zeigt, I want to hear from you and not from them. I did not raise a son who acts cowardly in front of me." The brown-haired boy sighed tiredly, knowing that she would be insisting. Hence. Ich word is der Sagen. Ich bin verliebt in Rias. We're signed ein Paar, I'll tell you. I'm in love with Rias. We're a couple. At these words she said nothing. She just looked at her son with a look worthy of a German general. Rias approached her partner fearing the worst. Until the woman spoke. "Are you fully aware of the consequences that this decision will bring? Are you willing to face the accusations of a hypocritical society?" They looked at each other at that question. There was love and determination in their eyes. They were willing to go through this adversity so they could be happy together. Hence. Das ein Wort, yes we are, they both replied in German. The moment was tense in the air. The woman sighed heavily, knowing that her son's life will change forever. "Well then, I'm not going to stop you. There's just one more thing I want to do." Erica just opened her arms looking at the redeed with a smile. "Welcome to the family, Rias-chan. Come give your mother-in-law a hug or sister-in-law. Well, what does it matter?" That had made the heir smile with happiness. So much so that he happily hugged the woman that even small tears began to flow. "Thank you, Okasama. I swear that I will not fail you. I will be with your son for the rest of my life." "I know you will. It's not for nothing that you are already my son's wife." That had made the redeed blush noticeably. "I waited. How did you? The first time it's hard for you to walk. But you get used to it. I lost my virginity when Sirzechs declared his love for me. It was such a romantic night that I will never forget it. And I think that on that night we conceived my son." I think the woman lost herself in her thoughts out loud. Mom, Issei shouted. You can imagine the redeed's embarrassment. That had caused laughter in several. But someone wasn't laughing. That was Akeno. Monday came and Issei had returned to school. But. Who is that boy? Must be new. He looks very cute. And even more so with that red hair. Perhaps he is related to Rias One-sama. I think so, since they come together very close together. The aforementioned lowered his gaze, very embarrassed. Rias was happy to be hanging on her lover's arm. And the rest looked in different ways, some with some jealousy, and Kiba smiled nervously at his friend's situation. But Akeno had a serious look. One that would be better not to describe. She looked at the couple with unkind thoughts. Since he did not agree with the relationship between his master and his Issei-kun. That boy she fell in love with 2 years ago when she met him. They both understood each other because of how inept their parents were. They both supported each other morally. With him, he felt like he had found his soulmate. The one with whom he wanted to form a family in which both would be good parents. But after everything that happened and this revelation, she felt like her friend was completely taking it away from her. And he does not intend to tolerate. Love Issei. And he won't let you leave his side. Classes started and the Redeeds still felt the looks of all his classmates who couldn't believe it. Believing that your brown-haired companion was never brown-haired but red-haired. So this is how it feels when you are the center of attention. I must say I don't like it at all. Cheer up, partner. I don't think it's bad. Plus, you have to get used to the attention you'll receive in the future. Thanks for reminding me and putting more pressure on my life. You're welcome. He sighed. But he looked out the window to see the midday light. He still remembers that it was on a day like that he met the girl of his life. At noon. He was in first year. And he was enjoying a bento in the shade of a tree. While enjoying the food, I also enjoyed the spring breeze. But someone was watching him. He opened his eyes and what he saw shocked him. She was a girl 2 years older than him. With long crimson hair. And eyes as blue as the ocean or the beautiful skies. She looked at him curiously, but she also smiled, making him mesmerized. He, as a polite person, greeted him. Good morning. But instead of returning the greeting she questioned him. What do you mean? Do you wish me a good day? Or do you think it's a good day whether I want it to be or not? That left him confused. Why did that girl ask those questions? Or maybe you meant that you feel good on this particular day. Or are you just saying that it's a good day for one to feel good? All those questions left him not knowing how to answer without looking like an idiot. So he answered as intelligently as possible. All at the same time, that's what I think. She smiled sideways. Then she sat down next to him, still looking at him curiously. He was somewhat uncomfortable with that look. Excuse me? Can I help you? That's what I want to find out. I'm looking for someone who's interested in making a deal with me. One thing Issei knew was that he shouldn't accept proposals from people he doesn't know. Hence. Well, I think the guys from the baseball club might be interested since I might not be interested in what you offer me. He moved away a little and began to eat quickly, and when he finished he saw that she still had her gaze on him. So he decided to end that awkward moment. Have a nice day. Wow. I thought you would be someone who would eat out of my hand. But I see that you are very cautious and that interests me a lot. Excuse me, but who are you? My name is Rias and Rias means well, you know, so I. Wait. You're Akeno's friend. Wow, I didn't think that she had told me that you are someone who does business. Of course I know how to do business. What else do you think I'm good at? He didn't want to tell her that it was because of her beauty and her body. Which she suspected. At least you are polite and don't look under my neck like other idiots, but you know this would be good for you and for me too. What are you talking about? I've decided. You will be my servant. Then I will tell the others. For now I'm going to offer you a deal. Stop, wait a moment. He stood up and put his things away. I appreciate your consideration, but I have never ever accepted deals or help. He refused. I'm doing very well. Maybe the boys from the baseball or rugby clubs will accept your deal, but I won't do it, so good day. And with that he left. Walking away from the girl who was still looking at him smiling, not out of arrogance. If not, she was happy to be rejected by someone who wants to do things by her own sweat and blood. But one thing was certain. She would make him her servant one way or another. Now Issei was in the same place, still remembering that day. That day he met his beloved, and before he didn't want anything with her. Now he wants everything with her. When he took out his bento. Sorry. No thanks, I don't want to make any statements or anything like that. And what do you say about eating with your girlfriend? He looked up to see Rias, who also had a bento. She gave him a smile that melted the Redeed's heart. Sorry Rias. It's just that they've been bothering me a lot, asking if I'm your lost brother or something. She sat next to him, very close to him. The same thing happened to me. All my classmates asked me to introduce you to them. I resisted the urge to reduce them to dust. They both laughed as they enjoyed their bentos and also fed each other. You could feel that they loved each other. Something that raised some suspicion in those who were watching them from afar. Among them also Akeno. She didn't like at all that Issei no longer spent time together. Now all his attention was on Rias. That was what bothered her. In her eyes, her and Issei's situation was wrong. Rias was Issei's aunt. And Issei was Rias' nephew. The fact that they are in a relationship even though they are blood relatives, it was wrong. Even demons had morals and social laws. Now I only had one goal. Make them both see that theirs was destined for misery by society. I promise I'll make them open their eyes and realize all this madness, I swear. 2 weeks passed. And both Issei and Rias were happy. What do I say happy? They were spilling sugar everywhere. The entire school, even though they claimed to be family, could not deny that they liked seeing the one Isama and the one they considered the Red Baron together. They were both happy. The day was a normal day in the club room. Everyone was talking about various things. Even Akeno, who has been more insistent with Issei and interrupted the moments that the couple spends together and lovingly. But in the club room, a magic circle had appeared. Everyone was on alert. But from that circle 2 people came out, only Issei and Asia were unaware. Good afternoon, Rias, I hope we haven't interrupted anything. Mother. Father. Issei knew who they were. They were his grandparents. Stealthily he began to go straight to the door and escape. He didn't feel ready to meet them because he was afraid they would look at him badly. But what are you doing here? Well, we found some free time and we wanted to stop by and say hello and also meet our grandson. Issei? Yes, to that boy who is trying to get to the door. The moment he said those words, everyone turned to the door. And it was true, said the brown-haired woman. When he was discovered he tried to run and escape. But the door closed and Venelana appeared blocking the exit. So, you're Issei, my lost grandson. He didn't know what to do. The woman takes his face to see him better. You have your father's hair and face, and from what I saw in your fight against Razor, I can see that you are very stubborn and not accepting to give up. That is something that characterizes a Bale. I touch his cheek, smiling as if he really liked doing it. You are very handsome. I suppose there are girls who sigh for you. And very ingenious in using the power of destruction in such a versatile and diverse way. Not even the best Bale can mold their power like you do. You are someone strong and it is a miracle that you are here. Issei, upon hearing the word miracle, simply walked away from her, looking at the ground as if it were the most interesting thing in the world. Please ma'am, I'm not a miracle. I'm only here because my parents didn't measure the consequences of their actions. What's more, I shouldn't be here in this world, I'm just an accident. These words left his friends baffled. Rias was hurt that he thought of himself like that. She often tried to make him understand that he was not an accident. That he is the best thing that has happened to him in life. She was going to go with him, but a hand on her shoulder took her. It was his father who was looking at him and telling him not to get involved in what was going to happen. Issei, still with his negative thoughts, looked at the ground. But a finger hit his forehead so much that it had hurt. Ouch, hey, why did you do that? To get your attention. Tell me one thing. Is that blow I gave you an accident? What is the point of that question? Reply. The seriousness with which he spoke to him made the young Riti tremble with fear. So he quickly responded to her. No, you had your reason for doing it. Okay, now tell me. Was it an accident that you met my daughter? No. Was it an accident that you fell in love with her? No. Was it an accident that you saved her from a life of misery and pain? No. One last question. The fact that they both love each other to the point of giving themselves to each other, is that an accident? No, it is not. Exactly. You being here and existing in this world is for a reason. Your parents love you too much to be an accident. Your friends appreciate you too much to be an accident. My daughter loves you too much to be an accident. He looked at his friends and what the woman said was true. She did appreciate it. You laugh more than anyone else. An accident could not lead to what you are now. For the underworld I am. That's because they don't understand or don't want to understand. A child born from a super demon and a human is not something common. She took his face and looked at him with understanding and kindness. Almost like a mother talks to her son, in this case grandson. You can't be an accident because accidents don't exist, you are a miracle, and you should see that. Without being able to avoid it, tears began to come out of his eyes. He has always wanted to meet his grandparents. The ones his inept father had told him about. That they were kind and understanding. And in the end he finally meets them. You don't know how much I've wanted to meet you. I know, sweetheart, but we finally met and I'm glad to meet you. He hugged her, still crying, and she gladly reciprocated, being happy to meet her grandson and show him that he is not an accident. Rias was happy for her beloved. And I hope that soon everything would improve and they would be happy together. What you don't know is that happiness is not easy to achieve. In a place of the underworld. I want you to eliminate that monster. It was a demon that was part of the council. And in front of him there was someone. Are you talking about the one who is the son of the current Lucifer? The risk is too much. I will charge you double. Don't worry about the money. Just kill him. The person in the shadows disappeared, leaving the counselor smiling with pride. Very soon that vermin will die. Later that night the same person appeared on a communication tower. Observing the city. Lagol is in the city. That person had a photo of his target. I have to work. The clouds moved to reveal someone. The murderer. The Red Baron. Sona was on another day at the student council. Looking at the documents. But he also had his thoughts on someone. I was still so surprised that Issei, Ria's pawn, is actually the son of the Mao Lucifer. And also that his friend and he have a loving relationship despite being related. But still she wished her friend the best. Although I was a little sad and more so when I saw how happy the Redeed was. She had never thought about her love life and she didn't think about having that opportunity with Saji when she saw how happy he was with his Bishop Momo Hanakai. Maybe love isn't something I'm destined for. And I think it's better that way. He returned to his job accepting that perhaps love is not within his reach. But a magic circle appeared in her ear and she answered a call. Apparently it was his family. What he doesn't know is that fate sometimes finds a way to show us the opposite of what we believe. At the Gremory mansion. Did you know Manfred von Richthofen? The Red Baron. Yes, I met him in 1917 when the First World War was in full swing. He bought me a drink and I bought him a second. We talked about many things. He was a great gentleman who taught me what it meant to be honorable and respectful to your enemies. Is it true that he shot down more than 80 planes? Did he deliver repairs to his enemies? That's all true. And I dare say that there could have been more planes that he shot down. In fact, I have his plane. Incredible. It was Zeodicus who was telling his grandson about how he met the legendary Red Baron. While Venelana was talking to her daughter. Both women looked at them. Happy to see him speak. I'm happy to see Issei smiling. I'm glad to see him like that. I know, daughter. Issei is someone unique. I'm glad to meet him. Mom. Are you and Dad against my relationship with Issei? You're scared, aren't you? Iridide looked down. She didn't deny it. She was afraid not for herself but for her beloved. He fears what the demonic society is capable of doing to him. So much so that he would dare not to return to the underworld to keep it safe. The chestnut understood her daughter's fears. I understood them very well. Daughter, choosing is your right. Fear will not save you. She looked up to see her mother who put her hands on her shoulders. Tomorrow has ceased to matter. Only today matters, now. If you want to be happy, you will have to bleed to achieve your goal. Mom. Are you supporting me? I will always support you. But the path is yours and you have to have the courage to make things happen. Do not be afraid of the path. Cross it and do not regret it. Rias couldn't stop the tears from falling from her eyes. She loved Issei and just as her mother said. She will have to bleed to get what she wants. And it is to be happy with Issei. She hugged her mother. Thanks, Mom. Whenever you want, daughter. Your father and I will always support you. That moment was unique between mother and daughter. Hours passed and the four of them were talking together. It must be said that Issei was happy to finally be able to meet his grandparents. Everything was going well. Until both patriarchs decided to talk about the subject. Daughter, there is something we must tell you both. Hearing that, both young Retides paid attention. You see. Because the council members got away with their actions. Now they demand that things be done as they should be. What are you talking about, Mom? Daughter, they want you to marry the heir of the Astereth family now. At the matriarch's words, Rias was in shock. Issei, on the other hand, lowered his gaze and his fists were tense with great force. He was getting angry. But don't worry. We managed to avoid that. What do you mean? Issei asked. The point is that it was either marry her or disinherit her. Wait. You mean that now? That's right, Rias, you are no longer the heiress, you are the second heiress. What do you mean second? Is there another heir? Issei, the other heir is your half-brother, his name is Milikas and he is the son of your father and Graphia. That'd surprise the Retide. I can't believe it, I have a brother. Well, believe it, partner. You got it. Then Lana's voice brought her out of her thoughts. But Milikas is the third heir. And they demand that the first heir be the one who marries the heir or heiress of a clan. 1 second. If Rias is no longer the first heiress and my brother who I haven't met yet is the third. Who is the first? The patriarchs looked at Issei seriously. And Rias also unable to believe what she just deduced. Why are you looking at me? I think you are the first heir now. Well, how is that? I can't be the heir. I'm not a pure-blood demon. I'm a half-breed. But your magic power and abilities surpass a common heir. You are the strongest young demon on par with your familiar Sirzechs. But. And there are 4 heirs and the 4 Mau who are in favor of you being the heir. Among them is your father and also Ruvel, the heir of the Phoenix family, who thanks you for having taught Razor humility and not having killed him, Zeodicus reported. I'm not a murderer. I just wanted him to realize the acts he did. In addition, you prove to be a gentleman and do not let yourself be carried away by arrogance. Your qualities support our decision that you be the heir. It was Venelana who finished. But what about Rias? She will be the second heir and also your wife. Incest is rare among high-class demons, since the most conservative ones do it to maintain pure blood among demons. That is why there will be no problem for both of them to lead the clan when we have retired. Issei, despite everything his grandparents told him. I couldn't find a reason not to accept. He feared that in the end he would not be competent enough to lead a clan, and even more so one of the most renowned ones. The hand took his. He looked up to see his beloved Redeed. She smiled at him with complete sincerity, knowing that she is no longer the main heir now. But he didn't care. In fact, she was happy that she didn't have to carry that title alone. Now she shares it with her loved one and knows that together they can go far. Rias, aren't you mad at me? Angry? Not at all, in fact this would be like an opportunity to be together. Just think about it, both of us would make the clan so strong that no one would even want to question our decisions, both of us would be happy together. Issei didn't deny it, in fact, he knew that his beloved was right. If to be happy with her I had to be a leader, then so be it. Hence. He made a decision. Sirzechs-sama, Venelana-sama, I accept to be the heir of the Gremory family. These words brought a smile to the faces of the patriarchs. And also. He took the Redeed by the waist and brought her closer to his body, making his decision official. I take the second heiress as my legitimate wife. So that we can both lead the Gremory clan. And that act made the smile on their faces grow even more. Rias was not only shocked but was happy to know that Issei loved her to the point of wanting to marry her. For the Redeed it was like a dream come true. I'm happy for both of you, and have you already decided when the wedding will be? Well. As soon as we can, Mom, I want to be married to Ice, and the sooner the better. I'm happy for you. This is something to celebrate. Wait. The three of them turned their attention to the Redeed. First of all, I would like to do something if you allow me. In the gardens of the Phoenix mansion. Almost the entire family had lunch outdoors. Among them Razor was no longer even a shadow of what he once was. Now he had no reason to go on seeing all his confidence and pride destroyed by that Redeed. Razor. I think you need to get over this, son. He didn't answer, in fact he just looked at his food as if it were the most interesting thing in the world. Son, I know it's hard for you, but you have to see that sometimes you win and other times you lose. Yes, little brother. You must also admit that Sirzechs-sama's son is strong. I think that should motivate you to beat him. Defeating him is impossible, I couldn't even beat him barehanded. One thing he never wanted was to win by cheating. He was someone of honor and nobility. And he admits it, his arrogance blinded him from what he did, and in the end he knew that he deserved what happened to him. He had no face to look his parents in the face or his brother. In fact, he couldn't see his little sister without knowing that she could go through what Rias went through. I don't deserve to be treated well after what I did. Minutes passed until. Hey, do you hear that? Ravel asked when he heard a noise. Then everyone heard it. They looked up into the sky and saw something approaching. Everyone on the ground. Everyone left the table and covered themselves, but that object was none other than a red plane. And the pilot of that plane dropped something that landed in the middle of the table. It was a crown of olives that had a ribbon that said, "To my friend and rival Razor Phoenix." Along with a letter. Ravel stood up to get a look at the pilot. He was the one who not only defeated his brother but stole his heart. It was Issei Gremory Hyodo. Who waved at him while he was doing a maneuver on the plane. If Ravel wasn't sure what to think of the Redeed now, she didn't know what to say, since not only his power captivated her, but his chivalry drove her crazy. The Phoenix, looking at the olive crown, were surprised. And more the Patriarch Phoenix. Maybe that was it. No, that's impossible. He died 102 years ago, it's impossible that the Red Baron is alive. Razor approached the crown and took the letter. Reading it, he did something that his family thought they would not see for a long time. Smile in a motivated way. The third son took his plate and ate very quickly. To then retire. See you, family. Son, where are you going? Asked his mother, somewhat confused. Someone is waiting for me to challenge him, and I'm not going to keep him waiting. When he left, his older brother took the letter and read it aloud. Razor. Despite everything you've done, I still respect you as a worthy rival and friend in the raiding game. We are rivals and even enemies, but outside of the game we are gentlemen, and I hope that our next meeting will be one where we can show the best of each other. Until then. Issei Gremory Hyodo. It was official for the Phoenix family. He earned all of their respect. And even more. I hope Sirzechs accepts the request I sent him. My daughter would be delighted to be his grandson's wife. Did you go crazy? Rias yelled at Issei, who, as soon as he set foot on the ground, began to reprimand him for the stupidity he had done. Yes, I am. You used the plane that is a family heirloom to deliver a gift to Razor, knowing that they could kill you. Well, if you put it like that, I think I should have used magic, but I wanted to do it like the Red Baron did. We're talking about Razor, he might hold a grudge against you for what you did to him. And I am very sorry for what I did to him, that is why I apologize to him in that way. She just looked down and then hit her lover's chest and then rested her forehead on him. Issei hugged her knowing that would calm her down. Everything is fine, Rias. Nothing happened to me. I don't want to lose you. I want you to be by my side. Forever. And I will be. I promise you. And so they both looked at each other. They give each other a kiss that demonstrates the pure and sincere love that both young Retides had for each other. While in a portico, both patriarchs watched the scene. Smiling for the love of both Gremorys. Issei is as bold and respectful as a baron. I know, dear. He reminds me of Manfred. I'm glad he knew how to use a plane and is like him. Zeoticus, do you think Issei is? Manfred never had Venelana children, although Issei has German blood, he is not a descendant of Manfred. That's what the older Retide said. But deep in his mind he suspected that if it was. But his friend was now alive in his grandson. He just hoped that time would give him the answer to his doubt. That day not only did the Gremory house have a new heir, but the Phoenix spread the word. Now those began to call him the Red Baron. A reunion. Things got better at Cow. Issei, by orders of the Gremory family, he along with Rias were now in charge of the city. And thanks to the power of both, demons are not a big problem. They both fought in very good synchronicity. And they made devastating attacks. Their relationship was incredible and many noticed it. Issei kept the surname Hyodo in the human world and would use his surname Gremory in the underworld. Rumors were running, but they didn't care much. It was planned to give Issei some evil pieces, but the council, out of spite, did not allow it. So Issei didn't care much about that. But his beloved was of course furious at such an act of corruption and abuse of power. Things were going well for them. Until a very serious problem came. That problem was called Cacabiel. He and 2 of his lackeys stole 3 of the 7 sacred swords Excalibur. The church had sent 2 of its best exorcists to recover them. And it turns out that Cacabiel made his base of operations in the city where it was most important to start a conflict. An enemy's own cow. Issei and Rias, through difficulties in Kiba's revenge towards the Excalibur, managed to give it significant damage by dealing with several of its lackeys who were fallen angels who wanted war. But they did not expect Cacabiel to advance his plans. They arrived at their hiding place, but Cacabiel was already waiting for them. And the worst thing would be that everything had been done at school. Now they were on the outskirts preparing an offensive. Zona Citri and her deer had put up a barrier to prevent the city from having repercussions. There was an argument with Akeno for having called the Mayu for reinforcements, but they didn't have time for that, and even more so knowing that that was what the warmonger wanted. Issei had an offensive attack plan that could work. And here begins what made Issei someone famous both in the underworld and in other factions. The meeting point was where Cacabiel waited on his floating throne for those who were going to face him. Although it was very strange to see similarities in the Securiute with the Gremory heiress. But I put it aside when I wanted to start the war. And several more were anxious. There were like more than 70 fallen angels loyal to him, all of them with only 1 pair of wings. Cannon fodder. He didn't care about his men. I just wanted a massacre to start. The fallen in command of Cacabiel were talking, and some boasted about the things they would do to the heiresses. All in the direction of satisfying their desires channels. But something happened. A very loud sound had been heard from the sky. And without knowing how. Destructive energy in the form of a bullet was heading towards their position. Careful. It was a bombardment of destructive attacks. Hour of destruction compressed. The attacks reached the ground, killing several. Quickly everyone in the air. The fallen managed to go into the air, but the air was not safe either. Several more fell due to anti-aircraft explosions, killing them and leaving others seriously injured. Everyone was disorganized. While almost 1.5 kilometers from there, Issei and Rias molded the power of destruction and created 88mm cannons. Rias towards the ground attack for her power. And Issei the aerial for his precision. Come on, move forward. Everyone else, Akeno, Kaneko, Kiba and Zenobia, went on the ground attacking after the bombing ended. Heading to eliminate several of them who could not defend themselves correctly. Issei, how did you come up with this idea? The Retide asked, finishing the mortar. It is an attack that manages to disorganize the enemy and advance to eliminate their defenses. It is a blitzkrieg. A lightning attack. It's a German tactic. I know Rias and I am proud to have German blood. And now being ready, both together with Asia went to support in the battle. Cacabiel was surprised. Such an offensive had never been expected. They eliminated almost 50 of his followers with the attack, and the other servants eliminated the rest. But I don't expect anyone to rush in and attack. Forcing him to leave his throne and start fighting. It was the same red-haired boy who used the power of destruction in his hands. Panzerfaust. A single blow, even if he managed to block it, was enough to make him retreat. It's interesting. He and Issei exchanged blows. While the others arrived, about 3 Cerberus had appeared and started the attack. Taboo and Zenobia took care of one. The Keno and Kaneko from another. As Rias watched as the third 3-headed dog approached ready to kill her. Asia was behind the retreat. But she was not afraid. I just watched as he approached. And already being about 400 meters away, she recreated the 88 cannon and shot at the creature's chest. Boom. A destructive energy projectile penetrated its body, causing the beast to howl in pain. He barely got up. Boom. But he received another shot that hit him in the chest, causing more damage. Boom. And with the third shot, literally the 3-headed dog had been split in half, with its head disappearing from the middle. Asia the second Cerberus. 30 degrees to the left 700 meters. Shot. Boom. A shot of power of destruction hit the Cerberus on the left side, damaging it seriously. The Keno took advantage to finish him off with an electric attack, dropping a powerful ray on him, and thus killing him. The third one. 20 degrees to the right 500 meters. Fire. Boom. Another shot hit the last Cerberus, splitting it in half and killing it because it was so weak from having sword stuck in vital areas. Rias undid the cannon and fell to her knees from the effort. Issei had taught him how to control and shape his power, but it was difficult for him as it required a lot of effort. The problem was that because of the amount of power it had, compressing and molding it was not easy. Issei was still fighting Kakabiel even if he was only using his gloves. The boosted gear evolved. How the hell did you do that? Sacred gears adjust to the wishes of their wielders. I just wanted to have the boosted gear in both hands. And with a blow he hit him in the jaw, causing him to crash into the school building. More things happened. Taboo learned what Balba the genocidal archbishop had done to all the victims of that horrible project. Holy sword. But despite everything. Despite the cynicism that the pedophile had. Taboo thanks to the spirits of his fallen comrades. From his friends. From Issei who encouraged him from the air. The achievement of getting the powerful balance breaker. And with creating something that was thought impossible. The traitor's sword. A powerful sword that manages to combine the sacred and the demonic. But that sword plus the help of Zenobia they managed to defeat Fried, who had a combination of 4 Excaliburs. And Kiba just managed to kill him by cutting off his head. And to Balba. With 2 swords he managed to wound him and make him kneel. And from his magical personal space, he took out a German pistol. A gift from Issei. No, please don't kill me, I can tell you something that. On the way home, bastard. And with a shot in the head. With the coldness of a Waffen-SS. He killed him without mercy. Finally at peace with himself. His friends were avenged. The circle had closed. But Issei had made things complicated for him. Bakabiel challenged all of them and they went to attack him. They could barely do anything to him and only Issei and Rias could slightly hurt him seriously. But what Issei wanted to avoid had arrived. The death of God. Leaving many in shock. But above all to the most religious. What are Asia and Zenobia? He bragged about how because of his leader the fallen angels became weak, but he wanted to make his race the best of all. But that last thing plus the shock of the blonde made the retreat stop holding back. Unleash the power of balance breaker in full. You know Kakabiel, you think that the fallen angels are the best race of all 3 factions, and let me tell you that you sound like a fascist and I hate fascists. Expelled a lot of power of destruction and draconic energy. The battle between Issei and Kakabiel had been very incredible. The two literally almost killed each other. But in the end Issei prevailed. I managed to kill him by piercing his chest with a blow, destroying his heart. He achieved what no demon had achieved. He arrived wounded on the ground and everyone went to help him with Asia directly to heal him from a wound on his side. But the barrier was broken. The hacker Yuiku had arrived believing that he could take someone but was surprised to learn that there was no one to take. They were all dead. And after a few words the white dragon withdrew, but not before both dragons in the sacred gears spoke seriously. We'll see each other later, my rival. I hope that when we fight, it will be worth remembering. The feeling is mutual. And so plus the arrival of the forces of the underworld who arrived late for a change. That episode was over. A week had passed. And everyone went back to normal. With some drawbacks. Azazel using one of the manifests had made contact with Issei, and despite the fact that he is literally the enemy there was no hostility, so he let it pass. Of course, when he told his beloved Reteed she wasn't happy at all. Assuming that after the misunderstanding with Zenobia in the pool, she locked herself in with Issei taking out the others, and they did it for more than 3 hours, leaving her satisfied. Now everyone was in the club talking about some things. Having happy moments with everyone. While at the Hyodo residence. Erica was doing some math. But inside I was worried. Her chemotherapy treatments were not effective. The cancer was already very advanced to the point that nothing could be done. His cancer doctor had told him that he had no more than 2 months to live. She was angry knowing that she would die and not be able to see her son achieve happiness. And also of not being able to see the man she fell in love with again. What am I going to do? Issei-chan, sir, Grafia-chan, I don't want to leave them yet. Tears of sadness and anger formed in her eyes. He wanted at least to see again the one he loved and still loves with all his soul. Sir. Now he only had to wait for his death. The next day. Issei had decided to go alone. Since he had found out something he didn't want to know. He learned of his mother's latest diagnosis. I must speed things up before she dies, I must have my evil pieces to be able to save her. You will make it, partner, you must not lose hope. Thanks for supporting me, Drag. And before arriving they saw someone. Someone that Issei knew who he was when he felt his energy. The white one. He approached cautiously. Wow, we meet again, I'm sure you know who I am. I don't know your name, but I can recognize that smell of poison and that desire to fight. May I know what you are doing in my territory? Your territory? And where does your name say? Ha, fake laughter. Hides my frustration. They didn't say anything to each other, in fact, they both held back the urge to split their sides. And it wasn't because they both had dragons. It was for something else. Something that Issei was able to discover when he saw something hanging around the invader's neck. A hammer and a sickle. That symbol looks familiar to me. I didn't think I'd meet a Russian moron. That cross too, I didn't think I'd meet a dirty German. I'm not dirty at all. In fact, and I don't mean to be arrogant, but I have manners and elegance. What do you have? That's what I dislike about the Germans, they are not simple. They couldn't even win at Stalingrad. We pushed the Russians to Moscow. You almost lost to us. But we won, whether it hurts you or not, we won. Yes, and I admit that like a true gentleman. Something that I don't think you know what it is. HMP chivalry is dead, my friend. I'll show you that it's not like that. They both clenched their fists, smiling seriously. But the edge of 2 swords was on the silver-haired man's neck. Don't you think you're going too far? Leave my leader alone now. You threaten my lord and we respond. I will not allow you to do what you want, communist. They were Kiba and Zenobia, Rias' new knight, who was also in command of Issei. Come on, do you think you can do something to me? You'd fall like recruits in the Caucasus. The hands of both knights were shaking. They didn't deny it, they were afraid. Kiba, Zenobia, last dine Waffen, fall, lower your weapons. They, at Issei's command, still reluctantly lowered their swords. Hak poslichen, how obedient. They had understood those Russian words and they didn't like it at all. I do, Issei, I suppose you don't care to know what position you are in. So I just wonder. How could an existence like you have come into the world without being noticed until now? I was discreet. But what do you mean by until now? You don't know. Your fight was seen by the underworld. Everyone now recognizes you as the Red Baron, you have a lot of attention, and I wouldn't want you to die before I kill you, you should take care of him, Gremory. I'll take care of that, thanks for your concern. Rias had appeared along with the rest. Now would you be so kind as to leave here? I was leaving, I just wanted to meet my rival. But first, congratulations to both of you. He left before everyone's eyes. But both Retids were confused. And more Rias, who feared something. Did he notice it? Unconsciously I bring my hand to my belly. It's not time yet. Already entering, it was Father's Day where everyone had come. Issei was calm. Until. Excuse me, is this class 2B? The voice he knew had been heard. Mom? What are you doing here? You shouldn't get out of bed. It was her in simple clothes, but there was elegance around her even though she had her oxygen. All the men, and especially the young men, saw how beautiful she was. And I come see my son. But your condition. I am not a weak woman. It is not for nothing that you inherited my elegance. Mother. Go to your seat, soldier. At her order, he still reluctantly obeyed, giving the brunette a beautiful smile. Something that left the male attendants in awe. Ara. Can I help you? And abruptly an aura of Iron Woman appeared, frightening many. And earning the admiration of the female attendees more from Asia and Zenobia. The Red Baron's mother is not a strong woman for nothing. Now everyone was gathered together. And it was for Sona Citri's sister. Serapho Leviathan. And let's say that I was delighted with the Retid's chivalry, revealing the qualities that make him stand out as a true gentleman. I see that everyone has gathered. The Mayu Sirzechs had arrived along with both Gremory patriarchs. And I'm leaving now. Issei, wait, I want to talk to you. I thought I told you there was nothing left to talk about. Look, I know you don't want to talk, but. From the doors of the courts, Grafia had entered with a look that could not be believed. Something that caught everyone's attention. Grafia, what's wrong? Sirzechs Sama, I think you should see for yourself. What are you taking about? She didn't answer him, she just put a hand on her forehead as if trying to process what she had just seen. By the Mao. The leader of the underworld approached those doors. Sirzechs waited, his parents spoke to him and everyone went to see. When he opened it and saw, he couldn't believe his eyes. The woman in the shade of a beautiful cherry tree. And that woman knew her. She looked at Sirzechs. Having pain in gaze. Everyone came out and saw her. For the patriarchs it was the first time and they do not deny it. She was a beautiful woman. Seraphil also admitted it and wanted to talk to her. But Issei, even though he wanted to stop him, something inside him didn't let him. His beloved stopped him, giving him a look like leave them. And after a few moments of silence the chestnut spoke. I know what you're going to tell me, Sirzechs, how could I do this to you? No, why did I leave you alone all these years? And take you away from our son? He still looked at her, he approached with slow steps. Well, what indication did you give me, Sirzechs, that things would improve? I asked you many times tirelessly to leave anonymity and be the family that Issei needed. But did you listen to me? That's why I never got married. That and something else, huh? But the look Issei told his inner friend to shut up. As the Mao approached. I know I left you so I could raise Issei without you, so he could be someone without the influence of the underworld. But I made a mistake because he missed you and. She backed away until she touched the trunk of the tree while he approached now with a raised hand. Without any expression. Stop being so stoic, Sirzechs, do it, yell at me, hate me like everyone else. Just tell me something. She was expecting a scream. The claim. Even the same one she loved told her that he hated her. But he only felt a hand on his cheek. There was no hatred in the blue-eyed Rias's gaze. In it there was worship. Love. He with tears told her. You are as beautiful as the day you left. The chestnut, upon hearing those words, tears began to come out of her eyes. She thought he hated her for taking him away from his son. He thought she hated him for not being able to be there for them. But both were wrong. And between tears. They both kissed each other. Creating smiles in those present. Issei, despite hating his father deep down. I wanted to see them together at last. Unconsciously he took his beloved's hand and she did too. That day. It was really a reunion. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.